What is up, guys? It's Mason once again, and yeah, we are continuing with our rapid games. I really wish I could get like 10 plus 5, but unfortunately, it's not something you get on chess.com as often as I would like, right? So we're going to play a Colle-Zukertort. Every time I play this opening, I do like have a lot of fun with it, and there are some crazy positions that often come out of it, which I really do like enjoy. There's no increment, so I can't really spend as much time as I would normally like to think. I would love to play this move, but again, the bishop is still active, so let's just like try and see what my opponent's going to try and do, and we'll respond in kind regardless. That's like an interesting move. I've not seen that before. Yeah, I do see this, but I don't get why he would do that. That's my whole confusion here. Okay, so let's see. Pawn takes, knight jumps in here, pawn push. We do have, like, for example, queen here, pawn push. I don't know if that's a safe position to be in, because I would have to castle queenside, which puts me in this like kind of danger. But I am willing to go through that. He goes forward rather. This doesn't like solve the position. I could also just play this move and then kick out the knight. But what I think is going to happen is... Oh, that's actually quite interesting. Because now if I go this way and then he comes in queen check and I play pawn push... Nah, he doesn't have that. I do have the intermezzo move here. I was thinking that this knight has a very good stoppage of my position. I may just be fine, but it looks like things are opening up. So I'd really want to get my queen out. I could also just ignore this and just play pawn push, let the knight come in and then go this way. And after the knight moves, then we trade off bishops and then I can play the game from there. I don't like that position. So yeah, I'll go for this move. As problematic as it may be. But I hope you guys are enjoying the videos. I know recently like I've become primarily a streamer. He could take it immediately. Okay, then I deceived myself. Okay. So do we just go here? I might be in trouble. Pawn push is what's disturbing me about this position so far. He goes back. Huh. Now if I go this way, the queen coming in is actually an issue. So the quickest thing to do is to castle here and deal with the queen idea later on. I think that's just the best option. And contrary to how the position looks, I think I'm actually better here. So let's castle. Now the queen check is not as problematic. And my guys are really going to open up very soon. That's how the position looks in my so here, bishop takes, then leave here. Again, it is opening up these kind of lines, but I still think I'm fine. I don't want to overthink the position. I should be. This is why I prefer longer time controls, but I will take this route and hope for the best. Pawn push is also a move, I know that, but I'm just believing that him opening this diagonal is rather good. I mean, there's also pawn push here, in which I can take, and if he takes, then I have pawn push again, targeting the bishop, and then I have this whole line. So that is also like a consideration. Oh boy. So I've not been feeling too well. Monday and Tuesday I was quite okay, but Wednesday I was like very sick. Thursday went down a bit. Friday a cold got added, and I mean today I feel much better. But I mean this week I could be good for chess. I lost almost all the games I played on Friday. On Monday or Tuesday, I think Tuesday stream, I lost 13 games, drew 2 games, and won 1. So all in all, my chess this week has been abysmal. Yeah. It is going to be like a bit annoying if I have to lose my bishop. The king can the knight can go here. I don't know if because now I don't know if I really want to push this. Let's just see. So let's say knight goes back, f4, f5, pawn takes, bishop takes, knight takes, queen takes. Okay, so that's cool. Am I right? Pawn push, pawn takes, bishop takes, and if knight takes, I play knight takes. I think that's fine. My opponent can close down my bishop for sure. It's one of the considerations I have. Yeah. So we briefly looked at this. The quickest move to play is like here. I'm also considering if this may be a good idea. I don't know so much about that, but I think this move is just fine. Again, if you are wondering why I'm saying that, I do think it's wrong to allow this, but maybe opening up their position would not be so bad. What I'm expecting my opponent to do is this move. I think my move is just straightforward, so I should play it immediately. And for the moment, my opponent has the chance to counterattack. So I'm eager to see what choice he's going to make over here. I think my next move is already set in stone. Knight here. If he does like block my bishop, that gives me this avenue, which is like very nice. So yeah, we are looking forward to certain moves. I'm looking at him still playing like this whole idea. I could move my bishop away and allow takes, but I don't know if that's like really what I want to do. So this, boy, now I'm kind of wondering, do I play there? Mostly in the Colle-Zukertort, you want to prevent the knight from coming in here. It's very annoying. So the move that jumps to me is I want to play a3 and prevent the knight. And I think I should. I don't think I should rush this. I don't think I should. But just in case, let's say I go this way. We have knight takes. Knight jumps in this way. I have to deal with this. Pawn push. Knight takes, rook takes. This guy is not hanging yet. Is it really good? Because now with the rook here, I do have like ideas of doubling instantly. That could just be good. I don't want to be too... Okay, so let's say he does come in here and I play this move. He takes. So knight here is the move I'm looking at. If he plays this, I simply just go takes, right? That's about it. So here, I'm looking at knight takes. And maybe knight takes. Now, I don't know if I want to take with this knight because I want to keep the possibility of this alive. Oh, boy. I'll trust theory. I don't know. This is really calling to me. Because if the knight does take, yeah, let's play safe. We are down to 3 minutes. There's no increment. This is not good. I don't do well in time pressure. I calculated a line where, for example, if I go this way and my opponent goes pawn push and I go takes, he can play knight takes first, and that's where the issue comes in, right? So, but now my whole king side is just messed up. But with this, I mean, if he comes in here, takes, I can still jump in this way, bring my knight in here as well. The position is still kind of closed. I hold on to this square, right, where the rook normally would want to be. And I also create threats on this pawn, right? So my bishop can be here and create future threats on that pawn. So that's like what my ultimate consideration is. I may go a bit silent just so I can try and calculate faster. But if I get to a very good position, especially with this time control, if my opponent gets low on time and I have a very strong attack, it's actually going to benefit me. So I do think spending the time is actually quite important. The most likely move here is like a5, right? a5, a4. Sorry, b4, b5, I guess, is what normally happens. And here I'm kind of wondering, because after b5, if I take, rook comes in, I really don't know about that. Maybe b5. Oh no, he can't do that, right? Because b5 I take, and you can't bring the rook in because you are immediately getting targeted here. So we'd have to respond to this threat first. And in that time, I think I can play a move, right? Yeah, keep thinking. The closer we are on time, the more likely I am to win this. I don't think this game is going to end over the board. I think it's going to end on a time technicality. But I do think white is completely better here, if not winning. I think I may change my mind and get my knight here because we do have like these ideas. It would be nice to get the knight here, but with how the game is going, so maybe if we do get a trade here, I will take with the knight. And go from there. If he decided to block the bishop, I would really have wanted to get my knight either here or here. But preferably here, I guess. But yeah, it's a tough position for my opponent. I can see the ways my opponent can create problems for me, but it seems my opponent cannot see. And that's like interesting. I mean, when he reaches 2 minutes, 30 seconds, he's definitely going to make a move, no matter how confused he is about the position. But I really wonder what he's actually thinking about in this position. I really wonder what he's thinking about. I mean, you could bring rook here to kind of discourage me from pushing. Right? He knows for sure that is what I'm thinking about. He knows for sure. This is the most testing move. A6 is a threatening move because it threatens to bring b5, but it's slow, right? Because when you play this move, I play this move and you have to respond to my move. Takes, then you play this move. I have this, or don't pre-move, or even this, and I can push your bishop back, come in this way and threaten stuff. I think that's where you have to really consider what's going on the board. Okay, my opponent is really stuck. I mean, when you don't know what to do, it's just like pawn break, right? You just don't, like, your opponent's attacking you on one side. I think he can start his attack first. The problem with him starting his attack first is that he opens up more lines for me to attack him, right? Because even if he goes like pawn push and I go takes, and then takes here, even if he does bring his bishop here, I do have takes. That weakens his position considerably, right? Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe I'm overestimating my position. But I like the fact that my opponent is thinking. And I mean, if he ends up not playing the move and we win, we will spend more time on the analysis. And I think this video would serve as a good guide for how to go about your analysis, right? So, yeah. This is why I like the Colle-Zukertort. The positions are very wild. Like, I've never played a Colle-Zukertort position that is tame. It's very wild, right? Not aggressive, but wild. And sometimes it becomes uber positional. I just love the position, right? Why I don't play it a lot is I think when I play these positions, it takes a lot more brain power. And in tournaments where like you have multiple games to play, mostly in Ghana, we play like 2 or 3 games a day, and it can be like 3 rounds per 3 hours per round or 2.5 hours per round. That's like really long. So if I mean the time control is shorter and I don't have to if maybe it's like one round a day and I don't have to commit so much brain power, I would definitely be playing this more often, right? It's a very fun opening. I would recommend everyone try. Yeah, my opponent, I think it's either I have disconnected or my opponent is just does not know what to do, and that's fine for me. Like, I'm cool with that. It is a very trying position, very, very trying position. I fully understand my opponent not knowing what to do, and I sympathize. Yeah, at this point, even if he makes a move, it's completely bad. Oh, so we are back to 1800. That's great. That's great. We are back to 1800. Nice. I did say we would win on time, but I didn't think it was going to be like this. I for one don't know why my opponent did not make a move. But let's take a look at this game before we go into the game review. This was a 30-minute game. So this is the Colle-Zukertort, as I've been saying. It's contrary to the London. It has London ideas, but it's contrary to the London whereas you like in regards to the bishop, because normally you want to keep the bishop alive and open, but in the Colle-Zukertort you are hoping for future pressure, right? With the bishop will become free. The bishop will become free in time as the game goes on. AAA Abdul Rahman Akintoye played this. The analysis video for that will come out. I ended up choosing to just analyze one game than all the 3 because I was stressed out. Yeah, but it's a very interesting line where you keep the bishop sort of like locked or caged in, but it has very good future potential, aggressive potential, right? So mostly the way I often like meet this is with this. You get these kinds of lines. Sometimes your opponents play this, in which case we develop like a London. So you see why the London theme still exists. And you get like very crazy attacking positions. Now, my first introduction to this opening was from an old video by Judith Polgar. And she recommended 2 lines. And it was one of the lines I was really like confused about, because I always felt like you want to play rook c1 to c4. So she talked about that one, and then the second line she talked about was knight to, my lines are bad, knight to e5, coupled with f4, g4, and a very wonderful attack, even with a sacrifice, if I recall. So a very, very, very interesting line. I've never gotten the attack before, but yeah. So my opponent castles here, developed the knight to d2. I held out on developing my knight because I really hate this pin. I mean, because of the fianchetto, it may not be as strong. And what do I mean by that? If I were to, for example, have played knight to f3 and my opponent comes in here my opponent would have to like respond by taking or moving all the way back, which I would still be happy with, right? So, but if he takes, I mean, this is also a position I'm fine with, and even the queen is joining the attack. But for the sake of like getting the knight here and the potential aggressive option here, that's kind of like why I waited. But I don't think this is ultimately a bad move in this position. I don't think you even want to preface it with h3. So castles, I developed the knight, and my opponent played this questionable move. It did make me scared, especially with the whole c4 idea. So I don't think it's completely a bad idea. I think maybe my opponent's execution of the idea is like where the problem is, right? So he jumps in here, and here I get thinking, right? Here I get thinking, because I have to really account for these. Yeah, sorry, the queen has to move. That's what made me think that this move doesn't work, right? Because if the queen does move, then I can defend my position, either with queen here or something, right? So I was really thinking about this move. I was also just thinking about why don't I play knight here? But then this move makes me a little bit worried because my king is still in the center and castling may not be safe. May not. I couldn't really clarify. My whole fear dropped on this whole move. For example, my opponent can go c4, d4 and open up my position. And I wasn't so confident about that, which is why I went for this move to have a much more concrete center whereby if my opponent would want to like bring this whole rook and do the whole scenario, I have a much more solid hold of this like e5 pawn. So that's like where my focus was. So we had f4, then we had knight takes e4. Here I was a little bit worried. Here I wasn't so sure, but then this is fine. So my opponent jumps back. I didn't expect him to jump back immediately. This is the ultimate move I felt like my opponent should have played because I can't castle. I don't even know how I would castle. Okay, maybe I could threaten this. Yeah, maybe that's what I would have done. But yeah, it does give me something to think about in the meantime, right? So I was kind of like worried a bit. But he jumps back and I'm just happy about that because I can simply castle. And here my opponent goes correctly. I think c5 is a very correct move. And it should be followed with c4. My opponent goes in. I go with g4. My opponent attacks the queen. I come in here. And here I think c4 is what you want to do. Maybe not in this exact position. Maybe the knight move is correct to be the first move that you play. Maybe. Right? Because, yeah, I played this move to stop the knight from coming in. But then you have this. And here is where I get thinking. Right? Because takes, if you take, I do come in here. But, I mean, ultimately, you see the issue with my position, right? You have b5, b4 at some point. The queen is coming in. Like, I think this position is just good for black, if not winning, right? Maybe if I'm faced with, like, queen here, I have to just agree that this is going to be bad for me and jump in this way. Right? Because, I mean, this is just... I mean, I know there are some daredevils there who will be like, yeah, I don't give a damn. Oh, wait. Okay, yeah. This is not possible because of this. Yeah. So, I mean, you can try and deal with this, right? Pawn push, and then you can jump in this way. Gives your opponent something to think about. Yes, I do see all this, but I don't know. I'm the kind of player who would be scared by this. I'm not very good at defense sometimes. So maybe this is a consideration. I don't think it's good, but again, it's a scary option because White's king is very, like, loose. Yeah, and the reason why I didn't go for, like, this move first is I looked at this. And I was like, okay, so even if... Sorry, I was like... Sorry, what was the move? Yeah, I was like, here... takes... And I was going to go takes here. Then I was going to go this way. Bishop back may not be what you want to do. So I was considering, like, let's say I continue pushing for the attack. My opponent could ultimately go this way. After pawn takes... Here... Then you have to take back and then takes... And this is ultimately what I wasn't confident about. I won't be shocked if the angel is going to be like, yeah, this position is just completely like fine. But yeah, I wasn't confident in this, the way the position looked here. Granted, like if I'm going to look at something good for me, it's the fact that this bishop is kind of stuck and it can't really do much in the attack as of now. My opponent has some moves he has to make before he can attack. But I mean, I think, like, for example, something like this. I mean, I would have to go this way. Right? Sorry. I'm ignoring this, but I'm trying to show how my opponent could try and open up the position. And I think this is it, right? This is where you'd want to go. And I mean, I don't know. It's becoming too dicey at this point. Becoming too dicey at this point. It's like now you'd have to go on the defensive, which you often don't want to do. So here I was thinking that black would be completely fine. This is how you analyze. That's why I'm not using the engine now. Just so you get a feel for the position for yourself, and then you add in the engine. So we're almost done with this side. Yeah, so I think that's where the position ends, right? Because my opponent didn't go for this option. He instead goes for this, and after I play this move, he just gives up. I prevent this guy from coming in. But I still think there were so many things my opponent could have attempted here. I just don't understand why he gave up. I think c4 makes perfect sense. I spoke about a6, but I mentioned how a6 is very slow, because I mean you do get all this, but I still think this is something that is more troubling if it's allowed. I mean, I could be wrong as well, because this is very scary in its own right. But I'm thinking that in this scenario, you just don't really bother about yeah, you can go here and just don't really bother about the whole bishop stuff. Because even if you allow this, you see what I'm talking about. You threaten mate, your opponent has to block. You have h4, you have h5. If your opponent does this, more squares are being like weakened. So ultimately, I don't think this is the way. I could be wrong. But yeah, this is ultimately what I felt about when I saw that whole position. Okay, so let's go into the analysis with the engine. 91.47%. Yeah, so my opponent apparently made 2 mistakes. I don't know exactly what these would be, but let's just take a look at the game. Yeah. So all this is fine. The first mistake for my opponent is, yeah, the engine doesn't think this is bad, right? It doesn't think this is bad. Come here. I don't like this view. I wanna, yeah. And it feels that, okay, so my opponent plays knight g4. And f4 is actually bad here. Not so bad, but it's because of f6. And this what I was mentioning, but I didn't look at it in this line, right? I didn't look at it in this like way or in this form. Yeah, but the whole point here is that your king side is weakened and everything is going to be opened up. So even though the engine is saying like minus 0.5, I think this might even be worse, if not just like losing, right? So yeah, f4 makes perfect sense. My opponent takes here, which is actually wrong. Queen to e2 would have been better. I understand why, but I preferred this one. Again, you saw the whole locking of my knight. My knight couldn't move. So here allows the knight to be very like open. Knight goes back. Yeah, I thought knight goes back is just wrong. d4. Engine recommends d4. Yeah, d4 just holds the guy in, and your move to try and get him out is knight to c4, right? That's basically the whole conversation here. So after takes, you have to take here, and now he's being watched, right? You can add c4, and you see how crazy the game is becoming, right? This is why the Colle-Zukertort is just crazy. So I kind of expected something along these lines, but that's even my opponent did play d4, but because he didn't play it, I didn't go too far in my calculation. The knight jumps back, which made me very happy because I immediately castle. I'm safe. And now he plays c5. c5 is a very nice idea. I played g4, but it prefers what bishop takes. I considered this. I heavily did. Especially if you consider what's happening here. But ultimately, I decided I wanted to maybe get the bishop to this square if possible. The second thing is the knight. Remember, I wanted the knight to transfer itself here. But again, this just makes perfect sense, right? Now you go knight c4, which is, again, like I said, where I would have wanted the knight to be. You can't take because the queen is pinned. Your opponent maybe plays this, and now you can actually lock the position. And this knight is a menace. Like, this knight is a tyrant. It's really going to make white think for long. And it's not going to be easy for white to kick this guy out, right? It's just not going to be easy to kick this guy out. You can't bring out this rook. There are threats of the queen coming in here. I can even develop rook here. Like, there's so much happening to you here. So I missed that whole idea. I did consider, like my first instinct was to take, but my conclusion was, oh, I can't get my knight here. So I didn't really look that far. I have to work on my tactics, right? So here, my opponent plays knight c6. I play a3. a3 is not good. It says just ignore it and go straight ahead with your plan, which is very interesting. I would say that. And I guess that the point is similarly the same here. I don't know if you could actually play pawn push in this scenario. It's not good, right? Okay. So you can take this way. I'm guessing it's what the engine wants, because the next plan is to go pawn push, but that's not it as well. So what could the plan? c4. Is the point of c4 just to end your opponent's assault? Like, if he does this, the position is locked, and to attack you is going to be much more difficult. I don't get it. Why is it saying that this position is good for black? I don't get what the engine is saying here. Oh wait, so wait, what? What is this analysis bar saying? Oh wait, my bar is not showing. Let me show you what the bar is saying. The bar is confusing me because the bar is being different from what the bar is being different from what second. Yeah, it's being different from what is okay. So knight c6. I played a3. A3 is wrong. It says I should go f5, and after g takes f5, I should play. Oh, my opponent should have played c4. Okay. Okay, and that's what c4. Like I mentioned, this maybe now you just take with your knight and get the knight to the square. I think it's ultimately still good for white. So I don't know. But a3, like I said, I wasn't convinced that a3 was the best. It's not bad. It's not bad. I mean, it says inaccuracy, but it's not bad. Of course, there are two things, and you saw me calculating them. It's whether to keep going aggressive or whether to just stop what my opponent is doing. Ultimately, I chose to stop what my opponent could be trying to do, but that could have ultimately led me into problems, right? So, yeah. So a3. And my opponent did not make a move from here. So yeah, it believes that white is like doing well, but yeah, it seems I went about it the wrong way. So let's say I went about it with the move I was thinking about, which is knight here, and I look at the fact that knight takes, queen takes, and then we have, for example, knight here. Is this still good for white? Yes, it's still slightly good for white. I mean, even +1 is not that big of a deal. But here, then my idea is to go like pawn push and open things up on my opponent's side of the board. You could take, of course, but ticks can be met with this to still keep the pressure on the squares. Maybe eventually you go pawn push this way. I mean, it's all this is fine. So ultimately, this is how I felt the game would go. I wanted to consider something. Yeah, the knight move. Yeah, so after my opponent castles here, I was wondering if I could just play this. Knight f3 is best. With this, and if h3, I think the best move is to take, right? Here, the best move is just to take, and then queen take. So basically the same position I was talking about, but it seems to believe that this position is much better for black. Or it's, I mean, slightly better for black. I mean, all in all, that's cool. But guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. It really does help me out. And yeah, I'll see you guys. Next week is the AICC. It's supposed to be on Wednesday. As usual, we do coverage for African-based tournaments. So if you are eager to see that, you can always join the stream. And I'll see you guys. Have a great rest of your day. Peace.